Hello guys, and the time have come. I know that you guys definitely want to know about this, the classic tier list video. So let me tell you this, big disclaimer before I start. I do have experience with mostly all of the classes of the game. I have personally changed my character to play pretty much all of the classes of the game. But I do have more practical knowledge with some classes than others. So what I did to be able to complete this tier list video is that I just watch content from someone else, ask questions from other people that are playing these classes, right? And even ask them to share me on Discord how they are playing those classes for me to be able to see how effective these classes are, right? And I even tested some of them myself. So I'm going to be dividing this class in this tier list in different ways. I'm going to have a tier list for melee classes in general, right? Melee plus archers are going to have those together, right? That's going to be for like DPS. Then I'm going to have another one that is going to be for mages, then another one that is going to be for healers, and then another one that is going to be for tanks. That's how we are going to be going with here, right? So let's start with assassin, right? Assassin is a class that I would say is I would say that it's an A tier. Assassin is a really strong class. You deal a lot of damage, like a lot of damage, but you don't really have a lot of sustain and a lot of survivability. So killing with this class may be a little bit more complicated than killing with other classes that heal themselves. They'll kill faster. They would regen more HP, right? And they would stay alive longer to be able to kill monster after monster after monster, right? So in terms of PvP, Assassin is one of the strongest melee classes for PvP. I think it's definitely the strongest class for melee on PvP due to the poisons that you can use. You can use Ginshei poison for like PvE, and you can use Nephbloom poison for PvP. Nephbloom poison, it would put stacks of poison on an enemy, and it will reduce their attack speed, casting speed, and movement speed, which is crazy. Movement speed, the reductions in this game are absolutely insane. And you also have like a skill that you can use to remove any debuff that is on you. It will cost you 10% of your HP though. So that's where Assassin would go. I would go now with Crusader. Crusader is a class that is simply super strong. I mean, DPS is really high. You don't have to worry about mana. You don't have to worry about HP. So you have a lot of sustain because of you're healing yourself a lot. And that makes the class a complete S tier. It deals divine damage, so divine damage is not a type of damage that is countered by many enemies as well. And it's a class that uses dual wield, so it's very easy. You're going to be using an axe in one hand, mace in the other, and whenever a monster has a resistance to either a slashing or crushing, you just swap your weapons from main hand to offhand, and that's it. You go through that. So let's go with Berserker now. We're going in alphabetical order here. Berserker, I really want to say that Berserker is a great class, but I'm going to be putting Berserker in D tier. The problem with Berserker is that it is not that it's weak. The problem is that it's annoying to play. You're always low on HP. You're always needing to use either bandages or potions, or you need to rest. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm sorry, Berserker enjoyers. I do actually enjoy Berserker as well, but the problem with that class is that neither is like a super high DPS, nor has a lot of survivability because of the debuffs that you put on yourself. You put a debuff on yourself that enemies deal 30% more damage to you. You do 30% more damage and have 30% more attack speed, but it's just not enough. So due to that, I have to put Berserker here. I'm going to Brawler. Brawler, I'm going to put it on A tier as well. This is a class. These two classes easily can beat A tier, S tier as well. The only reason why they are here is because their sustain is pretty low. But Brawler is an insanely strong class. The damage that it does is insane. The DPS is insane as well. And it's very useful. You put a debuff that all of your party members will deal 20% more damage to the enemy. And they also has a lot of interrupts. So that's the class that you want whenever a monster is annoying. They have like an AoE silence, AoE damage. This is the class that you want to bring with you because it's always going to be interrupting these enemies for all of those attacks. After this, we have Dusk Bow. And so we are heading to archer territory. So for archers, to be honest, I'm going to be putting Dusk Bow here in C tier. It's not bad. Damage is pretty good, but it's a class that has the problem of like if you get attacked by two enemies, you're dead. so the survivability is very low. You have a root, right? A stun, pretty much. But the problem with that is that you have to stay still for you to cast that stun on the enemy. And yeah, you do a lot of burst damage. And I guess for PvP, for DPS, like if you're going group content, I'm pretty sure that this is the class that you want to play with, because it deals a lot of damage and it has the utility as well, that buffing everyone else with agility. So that makes the class pretty decent for like group content, but not as good for leveling up or PvP or anything like that. Next one we have is the Hunter. I'm going to put Hunter on the same tier as Dusk Bow. I feel like the problem with this class with Hunter is the same that Dusk Bow has, right? The survivability is low, but Hunter is way better than Dusk Bow, so I have to put Hunter here instead of here, right? Because you don't have to charge your stun for that long, and normally you would put a trap, the enemy would step on the trap, and then they are stunned for like 4 seconds, and those 4 seconds should be enough for you to like use all of your skills and deal a lot of damage. It's also a lot of damage for like group content, but I'm pretty sure that Dusk Bow would be generally better due to the buff that you can provide to everyone as well. We're going with Paladin now. Paladin was a class that I always said that Paladin was like, you needed like 5 Paladins to make a single Crusader. Now they are definitely equal. I've been playing Paladin a lot recently, and the damage that you do is just crazy strong. Yes, the survivability is also a problem with this class, and you may be very unlucky and don't get any procs, and then you will not be able to use your Deliverance or your Holy Storm. And if you don't get procs, you definitely can kill a single monster, but if it's 2 monsters attacking you, you may be dead. So that's only the reason why I'm putting this class on A tier and not S tier as this class here. We continue with Ranger. Ranger is going to be a solid B tier class, because it is a very safe class. You have a pet, you heal, you deal decent damage, you kill decent and fast. You don't have the problems that these other 2 classes have, because you have your pet that taunts the enemy, and then you are always safe, right? You would not really have problems. If 2 enemies attack you, you would still definitely be able to survive and kill them without any problems. So that's why I'm rightfully putting Ranger here in B tier. I'm going to be then going with this is Shadowblade. Shadowblade is not a bad class. The only problem with Shadowblade is that it is not as good as Assassin, like for sure. Definitely not as good as Assassin. Shadowblade is a class that has more survivability, because you have like a lot of damage reduction and things like that, and like you also can avoid damage completely. But that doesn't make the class better at any point. The DPS is definitely way lower than an Assassin. Assassin kills way faster, so it has more sustain due to the vampirism that you can get later on in the game. So that's the reason why Shadowblade has to be here on B tier. Now, Spellblade. Spellblade is going to go straight up to S tier. The reason why I'm putting Spellblade on S tier, even though that class doesn't have any sustain, is because you deal so much damage that you don't really would have to worry about sustain, because enemies will die super fast, and you're also going to be getting a lot of healing because of the vampirism that you can get, right? You can have like 6% vampirism, which is life steal on enemies, and your HP is just going back all the way up like super fast, right? And then we have the last class here in the tier list, which is going to be Warden. Warden is going to be right here. I want to put Warden even better than Ranger. Warden is a class that can be played in different ways. You can play it 2-handed with heavy with heavy armor, and then all your accessories and enchants should be Wisdom, because this is a Wisdom-based class. It deals a lot of damage, it heals a lot, and it provides insane buff as well for the party, like 15% more strength and agility, and 10% to all attributes. Those are the 2 buffs that you can provide to the entire party, which is insanely crazy. Right? And you have a lot of healing as well, and you can also heal a little bit your party. So it's definitely a great class for leveling up, for example. But it's definitely slower than any of the other classes that I put here, right? For sure, I mean, this class is definitely faster to kill than these 2, and these 2 classes and 3 classes also are going to be faster to kill than these 2. And the only reason why these classes are down here is because, you know, they feel awful to play. That's the only reason why these classes are down here. But they do decent damage, again, as I said before. So this is going to be all for DPS. So let's reset this, and we're going to go with mages now. Let's see, which is the first mage? First mage that I have in the list here is going to be this Elementalist. Elementalist. The Elementalist is going to be an S tier. It's a class that deals a lot of damage. You can just go, gather a bunch of different monsters, and then if you play well, you can stun them and then deal massive AoE damage and just kill all of them real quick. It's a class that requires some knowledge about the games, kiting a little bit, right? And it may be a little bit difficult to level up at the beginning, but if you need damage, that's definitely the class that you want. Illusionist would be a solid A tier class. It's a class that is really strong, but it's definitely not as strong as an Elementalist. It doesn't really have a lot of AoE. You have an AoE skill, but it's not going to be as strong as an Elementalist in AoE. Also, Elementalists can cover many different types of magic. They do ice, fire, and electric damage, which makes them be more versatile when it comes to the weaknesses and resistances of monsters. While Illusionist only deals arcane damage, and that puts you in a pretty bad situation whenever you are facing an enemy that is resistant to arcane. But it's a decent PvP class. I would say that Illusionist is way better than Elementalist for PvP because of the survivability that you have, and you also can cast a bunch of skills without. So you have a lot of instant skills that you don't really need to cast, and like some damage over time as well. That's what makes this class pretty strong. Infuser is going to be F tier for me. Infuser is a class. It's like this one. It's a class that summons a bunch of things. But as soon as your summons are dead, you're also dead. The class is trash. Play that class only for like the first couple of levels, just for you to, level up your armor and your arcana super fast. And once you're done with that, you swap to Illusionist or swap to Spellblade, and just forget about that class. For now, that class needs a lot of work, and is definitely not good at all. So I would not recommend playing that class. Then Shadowcaster is going to be a solid A as well. The reason why Shadowcaster is an 8 and not an S is because at the beginning of the game, the class is a little bit lackluster. You need to get to like level 20, 23, something like that. Then you are going to kill a couple of imps. You get vampirism, and as soon as you get vampirism on your weapon for lifesteal, then that's when this class starts to shine. And also when you unlock all your skills, right? Because you deal a lot of AoE damage. It's crazy. And you can kill like 5, 6 monsters at a time because you do so much damage in the area, and you also heal so much that you would just not die, right? So you pretty much can tank the monsters and attack them in area, all of them, and you just continue to heal up and survive all the damage. If you want to see more content about these two classes, Illusionist and Shadowcaster, there is a guy in YouTube that his name is I Still Crank. You can go to YouTube and search for one of his videos about these two classes. Some small videos where he's showing like rotation and damage and all of that. So it's pretty good for you guys to check it out. He's going to be definitely a good option for you guys to get to know a little bit more about these classes. There are no more mages in the game, so let's go with healers now. So let's start here. Let's see the order. The first one that we have is Druid. I would say Druid is a solid A healing class. The class is great. It doesn't really have any buff for your other party members, but it's the best class for it whenever it comes to healing the entire party. You have healing over time that you can spread over 20 people that are in your party with you, or even if you're not in the party, like if they are like allies, they would receive the healing over time if they are close to you. Like, doesn't even have to be like super close. It has an insane area of effect, right? You have like a big area of effect as well in the ground, so it's pretty good. But you don't have any buff nor any other things that you can provide to the party aside from like big heals. So that's why I'm putting it on S tier. Sorry, A tier. After that, we have Enchanter, and Enchanter is definitely an S tier class. This class is insane, but it's awful for killing alone, right? Druid is decent for killing alone, but this class definitely is for you to play group content, right? If you want to play this class, just play Elementalist. Elementalist is also Elementalism, and this one is also Elementalism. So as soon as you have your second class, you can just swap to this class, and you just keep your second set of armor in your inventory with Wisdom. And whenever you need to be a healer, or you're already going to have all your skills because they share the same discipline, right? But the good thing about this class is that it makes your party member invulnerable, give you damage reduction, has a Wisdom buff, and decent heals, like pretty good heals. And you also provide pretty much infinite mana to yourself and the entire party as well. So that's what makes that class super strong. After that, we have Priest, and I think this is going to be okay. Priest is going to be a class that I'm going to be putting here on A tier. It's definitely not an S. It's a more single target healing class. Has some chills, damage reduction, and it's overall really really good. But you are mostly healing a single target. It's way better than Priest to level up though, because it deals more damage. And then we have Cultist. Cultist is a decent healer as well. All healers are good, and all of them have good things that you definitely want to have. But Cultist is more like a damage-oriented class, so you can definitely level up very comfortable as a Cultist, and you also have like a task speed buff and like life steal buff on your allies as well. So it's really good. You attack, you deal damage, and you also heal your party members. You provide like a maximum HP buff as well. So it's definitely not bad of a class. This is going to be the tier list for healers so far. All of them are good. But if you want to level up as a healer, I would recommend go with Cultist. Then after Cultist is going to be Priest. And then after Priest is going to be Druid. And Enchanter, just don't play Enchanter for level up. Just play Elementalist. And whenever you have your second class, you swap to Enchanter to do group content. That's my recommendation. Alright, so we are pretty much almost at the end. We are going with tanks now. So we have first Demon Knight. Demon Knight, we're rating tanks, right? So I'm going to be putting Demon Knight on A tier. It's a very solid tank. You do have a lot of defense and damage reduction, but it's a tank that deals mostly damage. If you want to level up as a tank, what you want to do is play Demon Knight, because you do a lot of damage, you kill many enemies, and you have a lot of life stealing, so you don't die easily. Like, you can easily pull like 5-6 enemies at a time, and you will be constantly heal up, and you will be able to kill all of them without problems. So that's why I'm putting Demon Knight here on A tier. Dragon Knight is pretty much the same as Demon Knight, but Demon Knight is life stealing, while Dragon Knight has his own heals, right? Definitely a bit tankier than a Demon Knight, but the sustain is definitely a bit lower, and the mana requirements are way higher on a Dragon Knight than on a Demon Knight. Both of them are very similar, to be honest, and both of them will be really good for like killing many monsters at a time. But if you want to level up fast, Demon Knight is the option. Guardian, since we're talking about tanks, Guardian, in my opinion, is one of the best tanks in the game. It's the best tank in the game overall. You have a lot of damage reduction. You have a buff of 20% damage to all of your party. You deal decent damage. You have a self buff that gives you a lot of defense and magical resistance. So overall, crazy strong tank. Definitely more tanky, like way tankier than these two, right? When it comes to like group content, right? But if you're doing solo content, definitely these two are going to be better, right? But we're rating tanks here, so that's why I'm putting it here. And then we have this one, which is Earthguard. Earthguard is, and I'm going to be putting it in S tier for like tanking capabilities. But to be honest, this class probably have to be like F tier, something like that. Like if you want to tank, yeah, you can play this class with like heavy armor and use a heavy armor shield and a one-handed weapon. But the problem with this class is that this class is not as these other three. These three are, their main attribute is strength. This one, the main attribute is intelligence. There are no shields, or there are very little shields that will give you intelligence. There are very little weapons that will give you intelligence as well, right? I mean melee weapons. So it makes this class a bit harder to play. Now, they added, like, this class has a lot of damage reduction and invulnerabilities and all of that. So if you're playing with a heavy armor and your sole purpose is just to be a tank, for sure. Way tankier than these two, and probably even way tankier than this one, right? It will be an S. But leveling out at this class is awful, like absolutely awful if you're playing with heavy armor. Now, if you're playing with like medium armor, a combination of medium armor and light armor, then yes, this class is actually pretty strong. You will be putting it here on B tier because you're going to be able to do decent damage, but your resistances would be reduced because now you would have less armor, right? Because you're playing with medium armor, which is a balance between magical and physical resistances. And you would not be using a shield as well. You would be using a book, which also doesn't give you any like physical armor. It gives you mostly magical armor. And you will not be using a melee weapon with this class. If you're playing with medium and light armor, you will be using a 1 instead of a, what is this called? A 1 instead of a melee weapon. Because the 1 will give you intelligence, and a book will also give you intelligence. Again, this is a class that is, the discipline is Elementalism. So you can easily play this class, the Elementalist, right? Just use a combination of medium and light armor on this class while you are leveling up. And once you can change classes, then you can swap to this class and play this class for group content. And once you need to level up, just play Elementalist, right? That's what my recommendation is about this particular class. This is going to be all. I mean, if you guys want to actually go hands-on and test everything instead of trusting whatever I'm saying here, remember that I have a video about how you guys can test all of the classes in the training ground. All you have to do is just go, even if you're level 1, just get out of the initial tutorial island, go to Farwood, and you can access the training grounds there. And you can test all of these classes and see which is the one that you like the most. That's my suggestion for that. In any case, that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and see you in the next one. Peace.